Oh, hi. So today I want to talk about something quite close to my heart. Um, I practice Ashtanga yoga in my own practice. So when I teach, I don't teach Ashtanga yoga, but in my own practice, I teach Ashtanga yoga. And if you know Ashtanga yoga, it's based on the sequence. So you start with beginner sequence, then move on to intermediate sequence. So probably there are about 100 postures and they are in certain order, and there's something about the sequence. So you really follow the sequence. And the idea behind it is one posture prepares you for the next posture. So you don't take them out of the sequence. You do postures in this sequence. And not just the sequence, not just the order of the postures, between the change of postures, there's like a certain prescription, how you breathe, how many breaths you take. In each posture, you count your breath, where to look drishti. And so it's from the beginning as you step onto the mat until you finish. Almost every breath, there's some order. You have to do things in certain way. And when I first learned Ashtanga Yoga, like over 30 years ago, any deviation from this sequence was so heavily frowned upon. My teacher wasn't like that, but what he said, some teacher makes, if you forget one posture, his teacher or some teacher would take you back to where you missed, and you have to go back from where you got fixed and you got confused. So it used to be like that, and it's not anymore now. More recently, modern Ashtanga teachers is a lot more flexible, so you allow more modifications, options, maybe take some postures out. So that's how things are going. Anyway, so in my days, so when I first learned Ashtanga Yoga, so when I first learning the sequence and following the sequence, I developed not just the appreciation of the sequence and the Ashtanga system, but I almost developed reverence. So I almost subconsciously developed some sort of a belief to mystic system of Ashtanga Yoga. In those days, lots of us believed, or we all believed, Ashtanga Yoga is really, really old tradition, 5,000 years old. So we thought, maybe we heard from somewhere, 5,000-year old, and it's lost in the history, but rediscovered in early 20th century in the library in Mysore, and all these scriptures are found on this leaf scriptures, leaf writings. But I don't think there's any evidence to it. I don't know if anybody's seen it. And anyway, last maybe 20 or 30 years, the interest to yoga system has developed so much that lots of yoga scholars, yoga academics, studied the background history of yoga. And now it's generally regarded, accepted, that not just Ashtanga yoga, but modern postural yoga. So the asana-based yoga, posture-based yoga we do has a lot more recent history, had a lot of influence in the early 19th century from Western gymnastics, even wrestling, or the physical discipline. So just to make it clear, this spiritual yoga is actually really thousands of years old, but physical postural yoga has a lot more shorter history. So for many of us, this was a bit of a disappointment. So after all, yoga is not something which was bestowed to human race 5,000 years ago of some sort of divine power. And it's not that this sequence, Ashtanga sequence, it's something which passed down on generation for thousands of years ago. Somebody said she felt heartbroken when she learned that sun salutation might have had a lot of influence from Western gymnastics. So almost like a myth of yoga, or postural yoga, physical yoga, Ashtanga yoga was bursted. So that raised a question. So is yoga just the same as any physical exercise? Is yoga same as any other sport? So I have been thinking about this, and I realized that magic of yoga is not lost. Magic of yoga is still with us, but it's not the way I thought. The magic is not in the sequence. Magic is not the belief that this system of yoga was passed down to humans from divine power thousands of years ago. And yoga doesn't fix things immediately. Yoga doesn't prevent any injuries. Yoga doesn't cure all the illnesses. Yoga is not panacea. And yoga doesn't prevent any misfortunes. Yoga doesn't work instantly. So yoga is not something which just mysteriously, magically change your life. But I think magic of yoga is actually in your own practice. So put the mat down and step onto the mat every day or once a week or a few times a week regularly. It's the magic, no matter how you feel. Sometimes you're not motivated. Sometimes you don't feel like doing yoga. Sometimes you don't want to get up to do yoga, but you do it. You step onto the mat, whether you feel like it or not. You breathe through some postures you don't like, but you practice. Then one day you discover you actually love the posture now. Some days your mind is really busy, constantly moving around, but you make yourself sit and breathe. And sometimes you lie down in Shavasana and relax into the posture when you are really concerned and worried about things in life. Or you're too busy, you want to get up and do something, but you lie down and stay in Shavasana. So that is the magic. Then magic will gradually work on you. And it makes you strong, it makes you flexible, it makes you more mobile. Probably it brings different perspective in life. Maybe you feel more relaxed. Maybe you are stronger mentally and physically, but it doesn't work immediately. It comes through your practice, comes through your constant practice. And that is the magic of yoga. Okay, so I wrote a blog about this. If you want to read, you can find a link somewhere, or if you go to my website, there's a link. If you have any thoughts, then I'll be looking forward to hear it. Please put in the comment. Okay, thank you.